And last question, number 6, comes in here from David. Hi there, David. Thank you for your question and for being part of the amazing WiggyWam community. So David says, what would you say are the main income-generating opportunities available to estate agents outside of mortgage referral fees? I'm thinking about the future and the possible change in the market and wondering how to get more income into my business, particularly after many landlords have sold up. So we've lost around 25% of our managed lettings stock. Okay, David, well, thank you for that question. Sorry to hear you've lost that many properties in the lettings business, but to be honest with you, from the statistics that I'm seeing across the industry, where I think the private rented sector housing stock has shrunk by about 35%, I think you've done okay, although obviously losing any kind of business is not a good feeling at all. So I implore you for looking at the other revenue generating opportunities that may exist within estate agency. And as far as I'm concerned, there are absolutely numerous ways that estate agents can generate more income, but unfortunately, a lot of them tend to look, and please don't take this as a criticism necessarily, David, but what I've seen in estate agency, if you were to go and do an independent survey, what I'd encourage you to do, David, is drive to 3 different towns in the country, okay, and go and visit all the estate agents in those towns and notice the commonalities between them. And I did this for hundreds of estate agents and letting agents over the country when I was mentoring people about buying investment property, right? And what I noticed is that there was very few differences between estate agents across the entire country, okay? Now, that might sound a very damning thing to say, and I'm not saying it in that respect. Well, what I'm trying to stress here, David, is that a lot of agents were not communicating their USPs to the clients in a way that allowed them to understand what those USPs were and to see value in what they were offering. Okay, so the first point I'm going to suggest here, David, is that as an estate agent, a lot of them look at all these different areas where they can grab a referral fee. Okay, so they look at mortgage broking, that's the very popular one, but they also look at conveyancing and they go, well, we'll have a referral fee from that as well. And oh, if I'm recommending a surveyor, I'll have a referral fee from that as well. And what I'm going to put to you, David, is that those referral fees are small fry in comparison to the job that you have and the opportunity that you have in front of you when you are an estate agent operating in a market of one. Okay, what do I mean by a market of one? Well, I'm going to encourage you to read Estate Agent Secrets. And the reason I'm going to encourage you to read that is because it maps out the entire journey of becoming a market of one. What that essentially means is that when the client thinks about selling their home, okay, the likelihood is they're going to speak to 2 or 3 estate agents in your local area. You want to be the first port of call and the only port of call for getting a property listed with you. I'll give you an example. I spoke to somebody in the market about a couple of weeks ago as an estate agent operating in the more rural end of the marketplace, okay? And he was telling me that his average fee is 4 times or the average fee of most estate agents across the country, okay? And it's purely because he's built himself up as a reputation to be the go-to guy in that particular space. Now, imagine what would happen in your business, David, if you were able to charge 4 times the current fees that you're charging right now to your clients. It would absolutely blow your business up, right? And the reason I mention that is because rather than looking at all these little referral fees, what if you were to add another 0.5 percentage point or full percentage point to your current fees that you're charging right now? And not just doing it and then, just telling everybody, oh yeah, well, our fee now is 2%, but you provide incredible value to your clients in such a way that they can see that it's an obvious way to sell their home in an incredible value for money way. Okay, because so many agents go down this, oh, we've got to stack them high and sell them cheap. Okay, we'll charge 0.5%. We'll charge fixed fee of 1,200 quid. But they haven't asked the client, is that what you really want? Does the client actually want to pay 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 2% for selling their home because you've actually shown that you're an estate agent worth your salt and you are the expert in your local area and there's nobody else going to be able to touch you as far as getting the best price possible for their property? Okay, I'll leave you with that thought first of all. Okay, that is a huge area which I think is massively overlooked as far as estate agents are concerned in terms of generating those fees. Now, other areas that you can think of, rather than necessarily getting referral fees in, for example, one of the things that you should be looking at, in my opinion, David, where you have an established rental business, i.e. you're letting properties for investors, are you working with new investors coming into the market to find them investment properties? This is one of the biggest growth areas that letting agents up and down the country are overlooking day in, day out, and they don't even know it. And I reckon, and I fully estimate, the average letting agency in the UK is probably leaving over £100,000 a year or more on the table by not finding investment properties for their clients. It's called property sourcing, okay? We do have a property sourcing guide. If you want a copy of that, send me an email, happytohelp@WiggyWam.co.uk. Put in the subject header, property sourcing guide, and I'll send that across to you. But the point is, if you are finding the property, you're sourcing the property, okay, you're finding the investor because you have investors already on your list, okay, you have a ready market of buyers to sell that property to, you'll charge them a fee for finding the property and sourcing the property, right? You then have the opportunity to do the refurb works to that property, and you can project manage that and charge them a fee, okay? And then you have the opportunity to let that property and manage that property for the investor who's just bought it, okay? There's an entire pipeline of fees there that are being completely overlooked by virtually every letting agent in the country. And I've only known, frankly, of probably about, well, I'll say less than half a dozen letting agents out of the hundreds that I've met and worked with. There's only probably about half a dozen of them that are actually implementing this strategy. And I think it's a massive shame, because when you are a property sourcing agent as a letting agent, and yes, there's some red tape that you have to get around, but deal with that. The key point being, you are proving that you know exactly what you're talking about as being a letting agent. Okay, it gives investors so much more confidence in you as a letting agent that you know exactly what you're talking about. You know exactly the type of deals that they're looking for, and you're almost sourcing to order. And when you can set that up from a situation where you've got the investor, you found the property for them, you've done the refurb, you've let it out for them, that goes into your rental stock. It's never going anywhere else. That landlord is never going to take that property to anybody else, because they want more deals, ideally, okay? And if you're finding them great deals, you're going to get rewarded as a result, okay? So I think that's a massive opportunity that you need to plug yourself into, David. If you want some training and support around that, I'm happy to guide you on it. It's not a problem at all. I wish more letting agents were doing it. As I say, I think they're shooting themselves in the foot by not doing it. It's that simple. And I think those would be the key target areas that I would be looking at if I was in your business. I would definitely be doing both of those in order to, drive more revenue to my bottom line. And ultimately, it depends where in the country you are, how effectively you can make this work. But there are always joint ventures with other agents across the country who may be able to find or introduce you to investors, and you bring properties, or vice versa. Okay, so keep an open mind about this, David. If you want a conversation about it, shoot me an email, happytohelp@WiggyWam.co.uk, and I'll sit down with you and we'll go through it all for about an hour. And once you've finished, you'll be so clued up in it. You'll be like, why didn't I think of this before? And then you'll be so glad that you sent me a question through the WiggyWam website, and we've got this conversation rolling, okay? So go forth with that, David. Make it happen. Start to build that up in your business, and I guarantee you won't look back, okay? It'll be amazing. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. That brings us towards the end of today's webinar. Thank you so much indeed for joining me, as always. If you want to send us in a question for a future webinar, please do so via email. Email address is happytohelp@wiggywam.co.uk. That's happytohelp@wiggywam.co.uk. You can also go to our website, which is www.wiggywam.co.uk. That's wiggywam.co.uk. You can access a whole suite of resources there. We've got blogs, we've got forums, we've got broadcasts, videos, training videos, all sorts of things within the website there. Feel free to indulge. You can also find us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is at WiggyWam_UK. That's at WiggyWam_UK. You can shoot us your questions via Twitter. Also, we'll be here the same time, same place next week, doing week number 29 of our WiggyWam Get Your Property Questions Answered webinar. It's a super privilege to be able to offer this to you and help and support you in your property journey. If there's anything else that we can do, please do let me know. But for now, I'll say goodbye and good luck and God bless. Thanks ever so much indeed, guys. You take care. Bye-bye.